Combat is like when you played back in the 80s. You weren't making a $198 million like your boy LeBron is today. How is it, like, what are your guys thinking? I said earlier to you, I thought the Lakers was the only franchise that had a bigger brand than LeBron. And yet,
go ahead. No, and I think the reason why LeBron is a businessman and he sees putting his name with the Lakers continues to keep him out front of most sports athletes. So, again, Nick, we talk about combat sports, MMA, which I love. I like that, man. I can kick you, I can smother you, I just can't poke you in the eye. But combat sports is what we were like in the 80s, the way we played. And, it was a very physical league. So when you talk about the Lakers, you talk about toughness from how can I say this? From Hollywood way, tough, different. Not that blue collar, roll your sleeves up, try to hurt them like the Detroit bad boys. No, not the bad boys, but the bad kids. And kind of like the Celtics when they used to play. I still hate Kevin McHale for clotheslining my boy Kurt Rambis, but that's a whole nother story. We're not gonna get.
What about when Bird nudged you out of bounds, bro?
But the way that we played back then, and it wasn't just the Lakers and the Celtics, it was the Pistons, it was the 76ers, it was Cleveland, it was Phoenix, John McLeod's team, it was the Seattle Supersonics when they were up in there with Sigma and that group he had. It was so many good basketball teams that played in the 80s is why I think the players of today are reaping the benefit of the way we played and why the NBA has gone to a whole nother stratosphere financially.
So essentially, they're standing on the shoulders of giants, I think. I mean, you guys were giants.
Well, Kareem wrote a book on the shoulders of giants, and it holds true today of all these sports. If the NBA has stayed kind of like it was, nonchalant players, a little bit of drug-infested players in the 60s, moving into the 70s. Had the league stayed like that, I don't think them numbers would be where they are today. But it takes players like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, Kareem, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, just to name a few of players. And the good thing about it is most of them are Lakers, is that it makes why players play on such a high level today. And then you can watch a Steph Curry, a Klay Thompson, a Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James reaping the benefits of standing on everybody's shoulders.
Well, speaking of Durant and Kyrie, both our franchises, the Celtics and your Lakers, are involved in rumors regarding Kyrie and KD. Thoughts on what went on in Brooklyn? Can you see Kyrie matching up with the ARP Lakers? I mean, is that really gonna? I mean, I just don't understand why the Lakers are doing this.
First of all, you could take the Celtics out of there. I don't even see a way where Kyrie finds his way back to the Celtics.
No, KD wants to come to the Celtics, and I don't want
KD. That would be a good one. I think that would be a good one. I think he would. You know what? That may not be a nice place for him to land simply for the fact
I don't think.
And I'm going to say something that's going to be hurtful to you, Nick, about the Celtics, okay? Brown and Tatum, two excellent young players. I think Brown had his opportunity to become a legitimate superstar last year or the year before got hurt. But Tatum, this past season, Tatum against the Warriors had a chance to solidify himself as a legitimate superstar in the 5th, 6th, and 7th game and could not do it. And I think that really hurt that team because now you put a lot of stress on other players that are role players like a Marcus Smart to come in and have to look to score more. Your star player can't go 2 for 10 or 3 for 18 in crunch time. So I think that's why they are looking at Kevin Durant because you know what? Kevin Durant's going to get his. He don't care what's going on. If he needs to score 30, he's going to score 30. But the key about a superstar is they may not shoot the ball well, but they're going to keep shooting. They're going to go down shooting, where Tatum stopped shooting. He started deferring and passing other people. So I think that would be a great place for Durant to land.
Tatum shrunk in the finals. I mean, and one of the things that Tatum struggled with throughout the last couple – since Kyrie's gone and he's blossomed into an all-star / kind of superstar is Tatum tends to, like you just said, he stops shooting, but when he struggles on offense, his whole game goes off balance. Not like Larry or Magic or even LeBron, right? Yeah. He's got to be able to rebound the ball, pass the ball. if you're, and I'm telling you, I'm preaching to the choir here, but if you're not shooting well, you got to make your teammates, you got to set them up for better shots, right? And that's where Tatum really struggles. And they follow him, so they all kind of shrink a little bit. And you saw it in the finals. As a Lakers guy, what did it feel like seeing like your Lakers out of the playoffs and the Celtics back in the finals? Do you like that? Is that got some kind of like romanticism?
It hurt a little bit, but I'm so glad that the Celtics got their ass kicked. So I'm okay with that. Okay, next time it's going to be the Lakers' turn, where the Celtics is going to be sitting out watching them, because I'm predicting right now on this show, Los Angeles Lakers going to win a championship next year. They'll be playing for a championship next year. I think they got a good coach, and Coach Ham is going to lay down. I don't want to say lay the law down, but he's going to show them again, because again, you got to remember 2-3 years ago, Lakers just won a championship, but it's a new NBA now. The league is moving forward. You got better teams. I think a team that the Lakers got to be fearful of is the Memphis Grizzlies. That's a team that's going to come after them. So with Coach Ham there, I think he will get them to buy in to playing better defense. I think he will be that coach that can get Westbrook to play and buy into the system play. I see you nodding your head and you got this thing in between your eyes, Nick. You might as well relieve that. You need to put that up there for the Celtics, because they're the team. No. I don't see them make it to the Eastern Conference Championship, the finals. I don't even see the Celtics there anymore. I think you have other teams, but that's another story. We'll get into that. But I think the Lakers are suited and well booted to kick all this ass in the West this year and get there. Obviously, we're going to need Anthony Davis to be healthy. But I think some of the moves they've made with getting some of the younger talent that the Lakers have, now it worries me a little bit, because you can't get too young and have your starters out there, and then you got young players. But Gabriel, Reeves, I think have been young kids that got a taste of it this year that only are going to help the Lakers get better. And I think they'll help. And LeBron, I think, is going to step up and really show you what an aging veteran can do as far as taking a team to a championship.
The one thing about LeBron is, we all know, and you could just look at his Twitter handle during the playoffs. I mean, the dude was dying that it wasn't in the playoffs, right? You haven't seen him often. I don't know when they missed the playoffs, maybe one other time. Seems like he's always been there. And seeing then the Celtics, who we know LeBron has a pass with them as well, rise to the finals, I think you're going to see a different LeBron this year. The thing is pacing, which he's always been pretty good at, and Davis cannot get injured, and they can't bring Kyrie in. Is that actually being discussed? Because out here on the East Coast, they keep talking about this, and that's a disaster, Coop. I can tell you that I covered Kyrie for 3 years. It was one of the worst experiences of my professional life.
Well, I'm not going to divulge too many of my Lakers.
I'm trying.
You got a big mouth, Nick, and you'll go tell somebody. But I'll tell you this. I don't think they need Kyrie as long as Westbrook buy in. But I would be willing to, let's say Westbrook didn't buy in the first, as the season goes, the first month and a half, then I'm looking to pull that switch, because I think LeBron can get Kyrie to come on in. They've won a championship before. And I think that'll help them better. But I really do believe that the Lakers are suited well right now. I think Westbrook obviously had a chance to get all the wrinkles out of him, so to say, off of last year, and understand. And you got to look at Westbrook, most durable player we had last year. Played all the games. The only games he didn't play are the last 3 or 4 games where he just sat out, and they didn't have a chance to win. So why waste it? Because his knees are bad, but still he comes to play every single night, and I love that about Westbrook.
I guess the last thing, Coop, I got to say is, we're talking about Tatum and Brown maybe not having all that killer instinct, right? And talking about Durant and Kyrie and LeBron's brand and all this. I don't feel bad saying this to you, because our Celtics, and the fan base in particular, they blame everything on the media, right? So Tatum's playing bad. It's the media. They're picking on him. Brown's playing bad. He's disrespected by fans and the media. I mean, it's just asinine, considering that the media existed since Roman times. There's always been media criticism. The Lakers fell to that too. I mean, LeBron kind of stayed out of it, but Westbrook, he was going at Worthy. The must-see TV was the post-game show with James Worthy. Me and Max would watch that, text each other, yo, it's coming on, because Worthy was just perfect to watch. But he gave it to them, and it was nice, I think. And, Westbrook took umbrage. They all seemed to crumble under the criticism and they all tend to resent you guys. I think the older guys. It seems that way.
Well, you know what, Nick? First of all, we don't care about them because it's about our loyalty with the Los Angeles Lakers and what they need to do to win. And that's going to always come first and foremost, as opposed to, I think we are sensitive to players' feelings. But again, when you sign up and you get paid the big money that these guys are doing and you're giving half-ass performances, we're going to call you out on it. I've called a couple of players out. And to the Celtics, the boo-hoo, Tatum and Brown, you know what? Go ahead, cry it out. Get your tears out, because you're going to shed more tears this season because you're not going to get past the Eastern Conference Finals. So enjoy last year and enjoy it.
You got Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. You got the Lakers in the finals. We're going to wrap around at the end of the season and come back to this. I was browsing through my archives of shows, all our shows, and I came across your predictions from 2021. Do you remember? Right? So we'll leave that for the end of the season, maybe. We'll come back to it. Because you know what? No one knew.
Laker fan. I don't care what you say, man. I'm always
no one knew. No one knew they'd be this bad. I was looking at that Lakers team going, maybe they'll bring some of that, tough, low post, mid-range game back. I was kind of rooting for the Lakers.
In 1988, we won the championship, and Pat Riley in 87 guaranteed we would win it.
I remember
and after we won it, we go back up there, and then Rouse got up there ready to say, in 1989, I guaranteed that Kareem stuffed a sock in his mouth. That's how I felt when on my comments with the Lakers. I wanted to stuff a sock in my mouth, but you know what? I'm pulling it out, baby. Lakers going to win the championship, and they're going to do it in a fashion that nobody expects them to watch.